Hey everybody!
Hi!
This is the Savvy Blondes, and I think this is probably our worst intro yet. But here we are. We're back for another week of laughter and fun, and I've got some kombucha that was homemade by the gal who runs our location sponsor, Thrive Co-working in Gilbert. So, Braylon, cheers. I'm going to try your kombucha. What are you drinking tonight?
I'm drinking wine that tastes like apple juice.
Oh, snap.
It's amazing, and I need it in my life now.
This is good. I'm like digging it. Do you want a sip?
Yeah, what flavor is it? Do you want to try this?
Like blueberry, like mint, I think.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Ooh, that has a nice tang to it.
Right? So fun. Braylon, you nailed it. It's really good.
I'm a big fan. You should bottle that.
Right?
Yeah.
This
is already in a bottle.
That's already been bottled. So, we got a letter from a fan asking us to talk about something specific that we haven't touched on yet. So, we wanted to sort of delve into what she wanted to talk about.
Yeah, do you want me to read?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and
what
read?
She wrote?
Yeah.
So, she wrote us 2 messages because we responded to her, so I'm just going to kind of condense it. And she said, "Hi, I'm wondering what you guys think about doing a segment regarding focus. I'm a high schooler, not a millennial, but I love you guys. I'm really thinking a lot about what direction I want my life to go in, and I feel like I have what it takes to see my goals through, but I lack the focus and direction. Have you guys already covered this? Thanks." And then she said, some specific questions are, how do you achieve your goals when there are distractions like work and school and boys, which I think we all deal with? And then, how do you stay true to yourself in the midst of the pressures of life?
These are such good questions. And
Absolutely.
I don't know about you guys, but I was not asking these kinds of questions as a high schooler. So kudos to you, loyal fan, for asking these questions at such a young age. You are going to go far. I mean, you're already like leaps and bounds ahead of the game just because you are like self-aware enough to know that you struggle with these things. So we're going to do our best to kind of tackle this topic to the best of our ability. And of course, if you guys have any follow-up questions or clarifying questions, or if maybe you want to do another segment related to this, we are more than happy to keep chatting because you know us, that's what we do. We chat and we drink. So let's tackle the first part. So how do you stay... So let me look at this. Hold on. So she has what it takes to see her goals through, but she lacks focus and direction. So let's talk about that first, and then we'll talk about distractions, and then we'll talk about being true to yourself.
Yeah, so with the whole focus and direction thing, I can relate so much to that because I do so many things. And it's really hard when you have all of those different things going on, whether it's a distraction or it's just that you have a lot going on in your life, to stay focusing on like the things that matter most. And so the thing that I like to do is like make lists, and I have a planner, and I like having a like paper planner versus my phone, because even though I always have my phone on me, having a paper planner just like re-ingrains it in my brain that these are things I need to do, and being able to like actually highlight it or check it off is such a therapeutic, like it's so cathartic to be able to say, I followed through with this goal or this thing that needed to be done, and now it's done, and it's highlighted in a pretty color.
Yeah, I love that. What a great idea.
Yeah.
I am not a put it on paper person. I probably should work on that a little bit, because I really do think there is something to be said about writing something down. I mean, just scientifically, it cements it in your brain. It sort of sends it to the part of your brain that goes, okay, this is going to happen because you wrote it down. I don't know what magical juju writing has for your brain, but it does. But one thing that really helps for me when I'm feeling, I have like what I would call squirrel syndrome, where I'm just constantly like, over here, what's over here? Oh, look, a big shiny thing over here. Let me go look over here. Like, I have it really, really, really bad. And so part of the problem with this is when you have if you have more than one talent, say you're good at more than one thing, right? Sometimes it can be really difficult to like narrow that down and say, well, okay, I'm good at all of these things. How do I choose what I'm going to do with my life? And obviously when you're in high school, you're kind of starting to think about the next step, which for a lot of people is college or getting a job or traveling maybe, or, you know, doing something like that. And so you're sort of taking inventory of the things that you're good at, and it can get really overwhelming.
Yes.
Because I think most people are good at multiple things. I don't think that's just like an us thing. I mean, we're amazing, but...
No, I definitely think that that's true. I don't know. I feel like I have this problem worse than a lot of people because I'm just like, I need to be good at everything, but I'm horrible, like, not horrible, but I'm not great at anything. Like, and I've said this before, like, there are people who are amazing at ice skating or piano or whatever. Like, I think a lot of people have, like, 1 to 10 things that they can say, I'm really solid at these things. I have no skills where I'm like, this is my thing. And so for me, when I was coming out of high school, I would tell people, oh, I'm double majoring in secondary education for biology and English because I was really great at both science and English and math. So then I was like, well, I'll just double major in like actual biology and then secondary education for English. And through that, I could get my teaching degree for biology because I have a bachelor's in biology. And then I'm going to get a master's degree in ants.
And ants.
Yeah, I really liked ants. I wanted to do like engineering for a hot second because you can like actually engineer ants to like do things. But like we're not going to get into that because I'm just crazy. Also, maybe at some point I'll do that, so don't steal that idea. That's why I'm not sharing it. And then like I wanted to go to school and like get a full-on cosmetology degree and like open my own business. So then I had the bit. There's just, sometimes
there's so many things.
You do a lot. And that's okay. Sometimes it's okay to do 20 different things.
Absolutely.
And not pick one.
But I think at the same time, like, you don't necessarily have to pick one.
No.
But I think if you're feeling energized by lots of options, go with that.
Yes.
Like, Caitlin obviously feels energized by having a lot of different things she's good at. I feel energized by having, like, maybe 2 to 3 things that I'm working on at any given time. And people are always like, Ash, you're always working on new projects. You're always doing this and this. Honestly, I'm usually just trying to narrow it down to like 2 or 3. Like, that's my sweet spot because for me personally, I get overwhelmed when I'm dealing with multiple projects. And part of that, I think, is the stage of life I'm in. I've got, it's not just me. It's me and my husband, my 4 kids, my 2 dogs. Like, I just have a lot more going on in my personal life. So what I'm bringing to, my career or my professional life, say, is a little bit of a different energy, and my time and my focus and attention is very divided that way. And so for me, I think when I was trying to, when I was trying to like narrow down what I was going to do, I kind of was at this crossroads of, I had to kind of pick a lane because I was really super into fashion and styling and wardrobe styling, personal styling, fashion styling, all of that. But I was also kind of really being pulled in like the coaching and the health and wellness thing. And honestly, those two really don't go together. I mean, you could probably make a business. I'm sure someone has, but it wasn't for me. And I knew that. And so I was really torn for a little bit about it. And I really had to sit and take inventory of not just what my talents were, not just what I was knowledgeable about, not just what I was good at, but what my passions were. And so I think if you're feeling overwhelmed by a lot of different options and thinking, well, I could do this, I'm good in this, I'm great at this, you just have to sit down, and journaling would come majorly in handy for this step, but sitting down and just diving into what makes you tick. So like, if we were going to journal that out, what would that look like for you? Like I'll give you a minute, I'll go first.
Thank you.
So for me, what makes me tick is pouring into other people and getting to the root issue of what they're dealing with. And so for me, like, fashion had been a way to pour into other people. When I was styling people, I always did my best to make them feel beautiful. I did my best to make them feel amazing about themselves and their bodies. I did my best to make them feel important and seen and heard. And there was validity to that for sure. But when I really narrowed it down, I wasn't fully living out my passion by being able to help people figure out why, figure out the cause, figure out, are they eating a good diet? Are they taking the right supplements? Are they, exercising, XYZ, all of those things. I wasn't able to get down to the bottom of that doing what I was doing as a fashion stylist. So in order to really live out what I feel is my calling in life, I had to sort of switch lanes and go with something that felt new and a little bit scary, but at the same time just felt so right in my gut. And so if you're having a hard time narrowing it down, I would highly encourage you to journal it out and talk to yourself about what your passions are, because that's where your sweet spot exists as a career. Everybody's like, oh, you're lucky if you can have a career, a profession doing what you love. No, that should just be how it is, right? So it's the intersection of your passions and what you're good at. And right there in the middle, that's the sweet spot. That's your killer career where you are going to be so aligned with what you're called to do and so aligned with who you're meant to be that everything is going to fall into place for you. And it's not going to be perfect. That doesn't mean to say that you're not going to mess up, make mistakes, take a wrong turn. Exactly. But you're going to be so confident in knowing you are operating in the gifts that you've been given and the talents that you have, that that's not going to deter you. That stuff is just going to be like, oh, dodge it here, jump over it here, you know, like turn a blind eye over here.
Mine, I'm still trying to figure it out, actually. Like, it's hard because I have so many friends that are graduating this year and, like, they found their passion and whatever. And, like, my passion has always been teaching. Like, I've always wanted to teach children because I had such an amazing education as a child. And when I got to high school, that didn't happen. Like, it was so different because I went from a really small school to, like, a really big school. And so I've always wanted to teach, but then at the same time, I have, like, just such a love for helping beings. Like, whether it's animals or people, like, it doesn't matter. Like, so that's kind of, like, the causation of why I do all of the things that I do, because there are so many different facets that I feel like I can help people and that I can make a difference, that I just want to have my hand in every single pot. Which is wonderful on one end, but at the other end, like, I see myself getting overwhelmed and not being able to do everything 100%. And so I'm learning to narrow myself in and say, you know what, I can only take this many clients, or I can only do this many things this week, and I can only have this and this and this, and that's okay. Like, that I can say no, because I'm also a people pleaser, so saying no is hard.
It is hard.
But yeah, so I think, like, just my passion is helping people and, like, trying to make a difference in the world and making my mark on the planet.
Yeah.
So
I think at the end of the day, you just have to go with your gut.
Yeah.
Like, your gut should be trusted always. Like, you have this, like, ability to gravitate towards the things that you should be doing, right? And so if you are quiet, you're still, like, in your mind, you know, and if that means physically for you too, then great. But if you are able to, like, really quiet your mind and, like, get in tune with God or the universe or whoever that is for you, and really just turn your focus to what gifts do you have, what passions do you have, where do those intersect, and if you don't figure it out anytime soon, that's okay too. Honestly, I didn't get this stuff figured out until a couple years ago, and I'll be 32 in, like, a month. So it's okay. You have time. Don't feel like there should be this pressure to get it all figured out and be settled in your career. I am still working on getting settled in my career, and you know what? My career might even change again. You just don't know. So I think you just have to be as in the now as you can, be present, be open, and be mindful about your gifts and your strengths and walk in that.
And I think, like, you shouldn't fight it. Like, fight the things coming at you. I know, like, one of the biggest teachings I've gotten from going to temple is, like, the universe is going to make what's supposed to happen. And the more you try to fight it, the worse the reaction to the natural change is going to be, and it's going to feel so unnatural. Like, I think, like, I've experienced this, especially with jobs, where I'm like, you know, I really don't like this job, but I'm going to stick it through because this is what I know, and this is what I know. And it just, it escalates, and it keeps getting worse and worse. And that's, like, when your anxiety starts to come out, and your depression, and you're coming home from work every day, and you're like, oh my God, I don't want to go back. Like, this is horrible. And then your coworkers are mean to you, and all these things just pile up on top of each other. And then you switch jobs, and you're like, oh my goodness, like, crazy. It's just crazy. And that was the natural thing that was supposed to happen. And if you had done it when the universe was saying, hey, you know, this is uncomfortable and this is scary, but this is what you need to do, just trust me.
Yeah.
It would have been better.
Yeah.
And you would have saved yourself all of that anxiety and heartbreak and disgust and all of those negative emotions that you got to feel.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
I love it. Okay,
Yes.
So next question is, so then how do we deal so we figured out what our passion is. We are, like, tunnel vision,
yes,
focused,
laser
focused on getting to where we're going. But then cute boys pop up and work pops up and family. For me, it's kids and other family and things like that. So how do we deal with that?
So for me, I'm going to tackle these one at a time and then kind of intertwine them all.
Well, you got to deal with them all differently.
Yes. So distractions with work. I think that if your passion doesn't align with what you are doing, you need to take a step back and reevaluate. Like, obviously, we were all 16 once and working at Dunkin' Donuts or at the fast food restaurant near our house, and those obviously don't align with, like, our future goals. Maybe they do. Maybe you want to be a restaurant manager. I don't know. That's you. That's not me thing. That's a you thing. But for most of us, that's not what it is. And so it's understanding that that's a temporary position and that that's a temporary situation and that at any time, there is another fast food place probably 0.1 mile down the road that you can go and switch to, and that's okay. And that when you're 16, you do not need to be in that job for the rest of your life. Like, that is not your career. That is just a job.
Right. Like, 16, you're learning how to have a job. Like, you're learning how to job. You're not there to be like, oh, this is my career. This is where I need to get settled. Like, but at the same time, no matter what your job is, I think sometimes it can feel like your job just is constantly in your brain and preoccupying your thoughts, and that can be like a distraction.
Yeah, and I just think, like, for me, my parents always, and I know not everybody has this luxury, but like my parents always said, if you ever feel like your job is distracting you from school because academics were the most important thing to me, then I need to either cut back on my hours or quit. Or I need to find a new job. And like I said, not everybody has that luxury. Some people have to work, and some people have to work full time. But at that point, that's like at the top of your list, you know? Like, maybe number one on your list, or twofold. It's academics and it's work, because you have to do both and you want to do both. And so it's trying to find that happy medium and saying, this can't be a distraction. Like, being fully aware and present in the situation and making yourself know and letting the universe know that you need to set aside this amount of time for homework every day. So if that's waking up half an hour earlier, that's waking up half an hour earlier to get it done. Or if that's seeing a tutor after school, that's seeing a tutor so that you know you're holding yourself accountable. So, and making, I think, the teachers in your life aware also. Like, I know it's hard to, like, speak to adults like that and level with them and be like, hey, so this is the situation I have going on in my life. Like, I work 40 hours a week. I'm 17 years old, and it's really hard, and I have a hard time doing school. Teachers understand they're people. Like,
well, they're people, but they also, I think they really appreciate someone who's coming to them saying, I want to learn, I want to be here, I just need help. That's what they live for that. You know what I mean? Like,
and they will help you.
Right, exactly. And if they don't, then you just got to go above their head.
Yeah, go to their
supervisor or whatever.
Go to the counselor at the school. But yeah, so that would be how I deal with work. And then same thing with school. Like, I think that kind of covered both. And then boys. If there was one rule that my mother taught me in high school that I should have listened to, is that I did not need to date until I was 18. Don't date until you're 18. Just kidding. Ashley is a wonderful example of why you could date.
Yeah, I'm a terrible example for that, but a wonderful exception.
Yes. No, I think the whole thing with boys is that they're great. You know, if you're a girl, they're great. If you like girls, they're great. If you, whatever gender you like, that's great. Awesome for you. However, they don't need to run your life. I said this in the Valentine's Day episodes, and I'm going to regurgitate it again. You are separate but together. You are not one person. You are two different people who have come together in this union, in this relationship, and you both need to understand that you need to be there supporting each other. You are not a lean-to shelter. You are not one standing up straight and one going up against it like this, and if this starts to fall over, you're both going to tip over. You are coming at it together like a perfect little teepee hut, holding each other up equally, and when one starts to fall over, the other one helps it come back. And if you're not in an equal partnership like that, yeah, it's going to be a distraction. And it's hard when you're in high school to find that, because you're learning how to be in a relationship.
Right, yeah.
But it can't control your life, and that's such hard advice to take, because I know in high school, when any of my exes broke up with me, it was the end of the world. Like, the world was ending.
Yeah. No, dating, like, consumed everybody's life in high school. I think that's kind of the norm, but I think, honestly, I don't know, speaking as like the old lady, just being true to yourself and being super attuned to what serves you and what doesn't serve you. And I don't mean that to say that like he should be, you know, serving you, but
He should.
Caitlin's like, oh no, honey. But I mean that to say, if the relationship is not serving you, and this goes for any relationship in school or in work or church or wherever that you have, if that relationship is draining you and is toxic to you, you owe it to yourself, your present self and your future self, to pull away from that relationship, to cut those ties and say, I'm going to continue my focus, because it is possible to be focused on a goal and to have a boyfriend.
Yeah.
It's completely possible to be focused on your goal and to have a really crazy job.
Yeah.
And it's super possible to be focused on a goal and to carry a really heavy load in school. It is 100% possible. But I think what it comes down to is that continual checking in with yourself and being like, okay, self, how am I feeling about this? And taking inventory. Sometimes it helps to write out a chart or a graph to say, like, how much of my life do I feel like this relationship is consuming? And if it's consuming more than the time that you're spending investing in yourself with school, with work, with, you know, self-care, with hobbies, with the passions, the things that you want to do, if your relationship is not making you feel good and it's taking so much more time than it should be, then that's a huge red flag. And I think you need to have a conversation with whoever you're dating at that point to either remedy that situation or to cut ties.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you right now, like, and I say this being happily married to my husband, but I know that like 99% plus of high school relationships do not work out. So let me tell you what I would tell my daughter is that no boy is worth sacrificing your future for. Like, if you have a goal and you feel strongly about it and it aligns with your purpose and your passion, and you have some boy asking you to give that up or some girl asking you to give that up,
Don't do it.
They're not worth it.
No.
You do not need to sacrifice yourself on that altar of dating just to have a person. And I get that it can be lonely in high school when you're not dating. I get that it can feel really alienating and isolating when you don't have kind of a special person, or you don't have a date to prom, or you're not, you know, constantly texting someone or using the Facebook and snapping the chats and all that, right? You don't have those things. That feels like a void in your life. But use that time, use that energy, pour it into yourself, pour it into learning a new skill, pour it into a hobby, pour it into self-care, take up a sport, take up cooking, take up something that makes you feel fulfilled, because dating doesn't have to do that for you.
Absolutely. Just go through a glow up and then become Instagram famous. And then you'll meet an Instagram husband. It's fine. No, I'm kidding. 100%
I'm like, that's bad
kidding.
advice, Caitlin. No, the first part was good. But, yeah, no, I think that's awesome. And I think the last question was, how do you stay true to yourself in the midst of pressures in life? And I think we've already kind of started talking about that. Like, life is pressure. That's just, I mean, you're not going to get away from that ever. And I remember thinking in high school, when I get through high school, it's going to be better. It's going to be so easy. And so then you like go to college and you're thinking to yourself like, oh my gosh, this is so stressful. I can't wait till this is over. And then you hit your 20s and you're just like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm trying to balance work and life and school and eating healthy and dating and friendships and
checkbooks,
self-care and checkbooks and budgets and all of this stuff, and it feels really overwhelming. Life doesn't get better that way. Like, it doesn't. Like, you either glow up, like you said, and you learn how to like really handle yourself, or you're gonna get swallowed. And so you can't go through life always looking for that next thing and thinking, okay, I can breathe and I can settle down and I can take it easy once I get to this step. That's not the case. I mean, I know, like, when my husband was in law school, when Tim was in law school, that was a really crazy 3 years, and he was gone a lot, and it was stressful, and he was under a lot of stress, and we just kept thinking, okay, like, we're gonna get to the end of law school, things are gonna be so easy. We got to the end of law school, I started working, I started my businesses, he started working at the firm he's at now, our kids have extracurriculars they didn't have. Our life is no less crazy than when he was in law school. It's just a different kind of crazy. And so I think the sooner you're able to really fine tune the art of mindfulness and checking in with yourself and being super attuned to how aligned you are with your purpose and where you're going, the better time you're going to have handling those pressures. Because honestly, the pressure is always going to be there. You're always going to have pressure from something. That's just how life is, unfortunately. And I don't say that to be like a Debbie Downer and like, well, life's always going to be hard. It is, but with the right mindset, life can also be amazing.
Right.
And worth it.
I think the biggest thing to remember, and I've also said this before, is that humans aren't stagnant beings. Like, life is going to move you, whether you like it or not, whether you want to be moved or not.
Whether you want to be moved or not.
Right. And so you need to go with it. Like, if life is throwing you in this direction, you're like, oh my God, I'm drowning under pressure. There's a reason you're there. And there's a reason you're drowning under pressure. And that's you needing to, like, examine all of the things that are going on and being like, okay, is this freaking me out? Is this freaking me out? Is this overwhelming me? How can I fix this? How can I fix that? Da-da-da-da. And really just being attuned with your inner self and, like, your surroundings.
Yeah.
And I think we forget that. And that's why things seem so stressful and why we lose focus. Because we laser focus in on one thing and then all of the things around our blinders finally catch up to us. And we're like, holy crap, how did you come here? You know?
Right.
Like,
yeah. Absolutely.
I know I've had that happen. I'm like, you came out of left field and you've been here for a while. Like, what is going on? Why are you over here now?
Yeah.
And you're too close to me. Get out of my bubble.
Right.
They don't get out of your bubble.
They don't get out of your bubble.
No, they just get closer to you.
And I think another huge thing that I would say that would be really helpful is find your tribe. Find your tribe and learn how to lean on them. There are times when I am just going through it and I have a couple of friends, Caitlin included, that I know I could text any time of the day or night, and if they're sleeping, they'll get to it in the morning, but they'll always text me back and be like, girl, I'm so sorry you're going through that. How can I help you? And even if there's not really anything practical that they can do, just having that, like,
support,
feeling of not being alone, and that feeling of like, okay, like, it suddenly feels like almost like they're sharing the weight of the pressure. Even though their life hasn't really changed with this information or anything like that, like, you just feel lighter. Because you've kind of offloaded some of these issues and just said, like, hey, like, I'm really struggling with this. And the other huge part of having a tribe is learning how to ask for help. This is such a hard skill, and I'm still learning this. Like, I'm really bad at it, and I think a lot of us are, because everybody's like, oh, be independent, be it's late. Be self-sufficient. Be self-sufficient, right? They're always like, you have to do this on your own. And that's so not the case. We're humans. We were created to be relational people who work together, who share the load emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, all of those things. So reach out, find your tribe, and then make sure that you're asking for help. So if you're under a lot of pressure at work and you need someone to come over with popcorn and wine and watch a crazy movie with you, find that person and then call them when you're feeling really overwhelmed. Don't just sit and ruminate and wallow in your own misery. Misery loves company. And that's like literally a very cliche saying.
But it's true.
But it's true. And it's not because you're just love making other people miserable. It's because that company uplifts you and it renews you and it helps bring you back into balance with who you are authentically. When you have people that know who you are, who can remind you, you are a strong, amazing, talented, beautiful person. You don't need to be so hard on yourself. You are looking at the best in yourself, and that's huge. So I think staying true to yourself is so important, but another great way to stay true to yourself is to find a tribe and learn to embrace them and learn to ask for help.
Definitely. I agree with that. Yeah, I love that.
I love it. So I hope that this answered your question to our amazing, beautiful, loyal fan. We so appreciate that you guys are watching our videos every week. I know we're a little bit crazy, we're a little bit quirky, but you know what? We know you love us, and we love you guys too. We are so excited because we are getting closer and closer to Disneyland. Oh my gosh.
Play Closer by Halsey, the Chainsmokers. Like,
I'm so excited. Okay, so please make sure that you are staying tuned to our YouTube channel for that. We are gonna put our heads together and come up with some fun things to do while we're in Disneyland. We have picked out our Disney bounding outfits. Caitlin's sister is making us some kick-ass ears. Like, you guys, like, next level ears. Like, Not like, oh, these are cute circles on my head with some flowers. Like, these are next level. You guys are literally going to die.
Yeah,
like,
they're gonna die.
I died.
Yes.
So, death is imminent, and it's going to happen, and we're so, so excited. So, I hope that you guys come on this journey with us. If you are feeling brave, like you want to come with us to Disneyland, we are so happy to have you. Like, if you want to come tag along with the Savvy Squad, come. And bring your boo if you want to, because she's bringing her boo, I'm bringing my boo, everybody's bringing their boo. Not everybody. So if you're coming solo, you're not going to be weird. So,
woo, boo!
Anyways, we hope that you guys have a wonderful, magical week. Stay true to yourself, follow your passions, stay aligned with who you are authentically, and learn to lean on your tribe and love them no matter what. Cheers. Oh, your glass is empty. That's so sad.
Raise your glass if you are out. Okay, I'm done. Bye, guys.
Bye. I don't know that song. Thanks, guys, so much for watching our channel, The Savvy Blondes. We'd love to thank our sponsors, Thrive Co-working for Women here in Gilbert. Thank you so much, Thrive. We're so excited and blessed to be a part of you and to be able to film here. So thanks. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.